people who are good in certain areas that
Right.
you're not.
Right.
You're not gonna have everybody. Like, let's say
You
you're in
can't be a
finance.
jack of all
You
trades.
right, exactly.
You just can't. It's
Exactly.
I mean, you can, but it's gonna be you're gonna hurt yourself more
Yeah.
than anything.
So I want to take it back to that example that you were looking at yesterday on IG. Did you notice some sort of like strength from one person that kind of complement with another, as in, or were they all talking about the same thing, having the same perspective, the same? Because it's not supposed to be that.
Look, hell of an intro. I tell you what you info, but I never really been the type of dude to give no info. But if you see your ends low and you trying to get a benzo, I'll give your ass some game that'll change the way that you think, bro. Super skilled with the pencil, super ill in my mental. I reminisce on life, I'm nice, here's my memento. Get it through your tempo, I get on any tempo and give it all I got. I'm hot, I got like 10 flows, trying to live on the 10th floor, across from residentials that I own. My mind stayed grown, I used to think clothes, I really used to think hoes and what I do to get those. And then I switched it up, I'm only thinking potential.
What's up, everyone? It's Ronnie Polonius and Francis Fan, and welcome to the realest show on the planet of Earth, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to essentially hear it all. So if you're ever looking for some sort of motivation, inspiration, or guidance, you're in the right place. You know, we make it our mission to make sure we can give you a place where you can consistently walk and grow. Lights, camera, action. And I'm actually going to share an experience with you, Francis, and for not even just you, but for everyone listening to this as well. And typically, I want to share this because I don't typically do this. And so when I did it, it actually, I think this is what sparked the conversation today. So last night, I was actually just scrolling. I was actually working. I was finishing something up. And sure enough, I saw on my phone had like 3 different notifications back to back. And this was all Instagram notifications. And I was like, what the heck's going on Instagram? Like, I thought one of my posts popped off and I was like, hey, let's go. We made it. Bop, 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 boop, boop, whatever. But no, it was these 4 individuals who actually got on an IG Live. And I typically don't tune into IG Lives. No disrespect to anyone that does it. It's just...
If it's not on your schedule, you're
right,
not going to do it. Yeah.
Right. It takes away from what I was doing. And that's exactly what this IG Live did. It took away from what I was even working on.
They got you.
They did. But it was a good conversation. It was 4 black men, all successful. They all work together. They all have their own businesses. All I saw was just joy. You know what I mean? That's what it really brought. And I'm just sitting down listening more or less to their conversation. And I'm like, man, how the heck did they manage to come together and find each other to the point where now they can coexist in the same environment, coexist in different businesses, help each other, have vacations with each other, and do these type of things. So, let's be honest, man. I don't see it often. I don't know if you see it often, but it's just something that truly indeed isn't really there in the scene.
I think you do see it in certain environment where people are, take the time to get to know each other. I think the biggest thing with that is trust. It sounds like those guys trust themselves, right? They trust each other.
I hope. I don't know.
Right. They trust each other to be comfortable, and that takes time. That takes relationship and takes some sort of connection. But you don't see it as much as it used to be anymore. Like, how many of your high school friends are you still friend with, right? And to the point where right, exactly. To the point where like, hey, if today you were to start popping bottles for whatever reason, your celebration or whatever reason, would you, how will that be? Right?
Yeah.
Would they be part of your small circle, or just like, how would that work?
I mean, you grow up and your circle becomes smaller and smaller. I mean, you grow up. You can't continuously do the same thing all the time. And some people continuously do. And I see it this way. Some people just continuously do the same thing, whereas others actually evolve to do something different. At that point in time, I think you're just looking for likes, differences, similarities in terms of the people that you're even surrounding yourself, right? So that's why some people just may not vibe the same way no more. And
right.
I could say, even to this day, sometimes I still experience it. It's just like, yeah, you could stay on the sideline for a little bit longer.
So how did that make you feel when you saw it? Like,
it doesn't bother me. I mean, I can't control what you like. I can't control what you do.
No, I'm saying about like the IG Live situation that you came across. Like, how, like, when you saw that, what did it bring out of you?
It's possible. That's it. It's possible, and it brought, like I said, it brought joy, because I was able to see 4 individuals get on an IG live and just chop it up, just talk, have fun, laugh at each other, make jokes about each other. But in the end, they all know that, hey, there's a bigger goal behind this. Like, we got something that we're working on.
Yeah.
It's a man with a vision. I think that's a powerful thing.
I think the best example for something like that is what you see in a team environment. All these people come from different backgrounds, but yet they are going after the same goal, right? When you're in a team, we're all trying to win, right? Now, if you look carefully, the leaders will stand out from the pack. And those are the leaders that will carry the pack. You see it even with birds. You see it with dolphins. There's always one that dictate where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, they are all in sync, right? And that allows them to get to that objective, to get to that goal. So, like, for them, maybe they had a message they wanted to share on IG, so they were in sync with the message wanted to share.
Gotcha.
That's why you're able to see it and play. It's like when you're listening to a beautiful song. It's because the person can hit the note exactly when it needs to be hidden, and he's doing it at a constant
like
pace.
Drizzy Drake?
Right. Well, I don't know if I could say that, but you get the
be
point.
Careful now.
You get the point. It's to be in sync with one another.
Yeah.
So if you're not in sync with me, like, let's say you want to go out to the bar tonight and I'm trying to read a book, we're not in the same page.
Right.
That chemistry is not going to work well. That's a poor example, but it's to say that if you want to be in harmony with people, you need to be aligned. It's like the same thing with your partner. Like, if you have a partner, you may not have the same goal, but you're aligned in terms of your principle and at least your fundamental.
I mean,
are you
really in alignment if y'all don't have the same goal? I mean,
yeah, because she has an agenda of her,
of herself
right. As well.
So are you saying more or less the principles then? Is that what weighs a little bit more weight on it?
Well, I don't really want to talk about relationship per se.
Well, no, I'm not even talking relationship, just because I think everybody has their own principles, and I think this could roll right into, how do you even find individuals to coexist with, to be running mates with? How do you find that?
Right.
And is it really principles, or is it their goal? Is it what they want out of themselves? Because ultimately, I'm going to be honest, man, I've had conversations with people that have a goal. Day 1, day 100, that goal no longer exists.
Right.
The goal just completely changed. And at that point, do you really look at the situation and say, hey, we no longer can coexist just because the goal has changed?
I mean, the goals are meant to change, right? You're supposed to accomplish them and move on to something new.
That's fair.
Right? You're not supposed to stay stagnant.
So that means your goal is too small then. That's what that tells me.
No, because it could be small to your eyes, but it could have been a mountain to their eyes.
That's fair.
Right?
Let me be nice.
But it's more about, I think, the intention behind the relationship, because a relationship is supposed to add value to all the member involved.
Okay.
So if we're gonna have our intention set, let's say we're doing this podcast or whatever, somehow, some way, it may not be a materialistic value that you're gaining out of this, but there are value that you're gaining out of the relationship that you have with me, with your mother, with anybody, right? So if you think about this, would you have a relationship, a trustworthy relationship with somebody you just met today?
No, you can't.
Because you don't know, right? You don't know the person just yet.
Right.
Right? And that takes what? Your intention to come open and try to get to know this person and figure out, okay, so where do we align? Where are we in sync? What can we do together? How can we partner up? And, do we even have things in common that we can work on? Right? It's not, that's kind of how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it more of a collaboration, and like the example I like to use is we all have a gift, right? And your gift complements somebody else's gift.
Yeah.
Which kind of paints the whole picture. So if you're able to find more people with whom you're in sync and you complement each other well, that's what creates a team.
Yeah.
You can't have 5 point guards in the same team and expect to win a ring, right? Basketball, you can't have 5 point guard and expect to win a team. That's not happening. So you need a shooting guard, you need a small forward, you're gonna need a center, right? So how do you everybody understand their role?
How do
right?
you?
How do you? But it starts with you, and I'm glad you brought it. It starts with you. Your friends start with you because you're able to know your identity and you know where you lie. You know exactly what you stand on. You know your strengths and weaknesses. If you don't, please work on that. But you know your strengths and weaknesses. So your partner technically should be able to complement you in some of these aspects. They don't have to. Right?
But it's helpful.
But for you to thrive and for you to be able to kind of have a support system, because that's really what it is. People who are good in certain areas that you're not. You're not gonna have everybody. Like, let's say you're in finance.
You can't be a jack of all trades.
Right, exactly.
You just can't.
Exactly.
I mean, you can, but you're gonna hurt yourself more than anything.
So I want to take it back to that example that you were looking at yesterday on IG. Did you notice some sort of like strength from one person that kind of complement with another, as in, or were they all talking about the same thing, having the same perspective, because it's not supposed to be that way.
I wouldn't say I couldn't get that out of it. So I don't know how they all add value to each other, but I'm sure it's one way that I think that they do. They all inspire each other. That's one of the things, because one of the things I've caught on is they were kind of talking about, hey, look at your living room, right? So they were like, hey, look at your living room, man, and look at this other guy's living room. And they were comparing and contrasting. He was like, man, you the reason why my living room looks like this, right? And he's like, and that's why I said the inspiring, the aspect of, being able to accomplish something and make it look to your standards that may help somebody else make something look the way that they thought that they should make it look or wanted to make it look. So in that aspect, I could see on that IG Live specifically, they were very much so inspired by each other's accomplishments, I should ultimately say. And that's what I think is a key reason why that helps them stay together, is because they continuously strive to be better, do better, and that enables them to continuously conquer the world, to do whatever their goal inspires them to do.
Right. And in that example, you just said, like, your living room looks like this because, my living room looks like this because of you. That's value, right? Added value right there.
So,
not to say that we're chasing value, because
you should be,
but that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same. You see it in nature all the time.
So, are you essentially saying if somebody does not provide value to you but has very similar principles, that you shouldn't really keep them close? Or you're saying, like, what are you exactly referring to? Because yes, I get it, add value, but what if the person doesn't add as much value as you want? But again, you have a lot of respect. Hold on. You have a lot of respect for the person. Person has very similar principles. It's just the value aspect that person is missing.
Set the record straight. That's a lack of communication, because you're not on the same page, right? Because you know what you want. You've raised your frequency to 100, right? But this person is still at 80. They're not there yet. Right? It's not to say you shouldn't keep them around, but hey, if your objective is to be around 100 people who are at 100 degree, let them know. Hey, I think we're cool, friend, but in this area, bro, I don't think this is a good approach.
This is your field.
But here's the thing, though, how you've planted the seed at that point. You told them, hey, this is the type of environment I'm looking for, right? This is you, but if it's up to that person now to take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not breaking a bond by saying it. I'm just saying I'm here, right? You either meet me or it just doesn't exist.
Just go left. Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Right? I'm going to pick an example, for example. Hey, me and you, we used to go out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
We still do. Don't front for the people.
We do, but not like that.
Yeah.
Not like that. And even when we do, we're wired a completely different way.
Oh, man.
A completely different way. When we used to go out, right, in the past, we'll be with a bunch of other different people.
At least 10 deep.
Would you want to be with those 10 deep again going out right now
No,
with the
not all
mindset
of
that
them.
Exactly.
No.
Why? Because you've raised your frequency.
Yeah.
Right? Your goals, your ambition, your character all have changed, because now you're seeking for more to add value to your life, right? And with that same concept, where did that start? It started with you.
Yeah.
Right? You did the work. You realized, hey, this is my identity. This is who I am, and this is who I want to be around, right? I think this person can help me get better at so and so. I'm trying to learn a different language. I think this person knows the language. Yo, help me out because I know you're an expert in that field. Yo, I'm struggling to budget my money. I know you're good with money, right? Hit me up. Like, yo, let's work. Yo, I heard you're good with counseling. Hit me up. Things like that. So you have to.
That's not easy to find, though.
It's not easy to find your identity?
No. Like other individuals to add value. Because I think a lot of people are still trying to identify themselves.
Well, that's the work. But once you go through that work, you're able then to identify, okay, now I know where I stand. I have my foundation, in stone.
Yeah.
What do we need to put them? How do we build this legacy now?
I want to touch base. I'm gonna use code names for this one. So for those of you that don't know, I'm sorry, but you'll figure out sometime later down the line. Speaking personally for what we have, the group that we have and we're working with, what do you think needs to happen in order for us to add value?
Intention. I think the commitment and the willingness to be part of the group has to be at 100, and it's not at 100.
Where would you say it's at in terms of temperature? Like not your temperature, just the group in itself.
I mean,
and this is not in comparison to you. This is just speaking in terms of where do you believe that the group is as a whole?
If I have to look based off of all the groups that I've been in, 70, 75.
Okay.
That's average based off of, everybody involved. That's the average that I'll pick, and that's me being generous. Yeah, so if the goal is to get to 100, let's get more people that want to get to 100. Or you can easily say, hey, yo, we like you, right? We appreciate what you're doing, but you got to turn it up a bit. Go to a corporation and give them 40% of your effort. Yeah. And you tell me if you're going to have a job 2 months down the line.
That's fair. That's fair.
They hired you because they expect you to perform at this level. Same thing with the sports. I'm a big sports again. We just signed a new soccer, for example, striker. We signed a new QB. First season, you're not performing at the level they want you to perform. You're out the door.
Yeah, yikes.
No matter how much money you got, they're probably going to look to trade you.
Okay, so before you kick somebody out the door, you have to give them some sort of you have to, you got to give them, not to say it's just a chance, but you have to put tests in front of them, in my eyes, at least tests in front of them to see if they can make it through those tests. And if they do, then great.
I don't think we should be here testing people. What you want to do is allow them to really show their color and spread their wings. You give them the room to spread their wings because they'll show you exactly who they are. If you're trying to test them, you're testing them based off of what you're looking for. Now you're capping,
because at the point you want to see if they can add value.
No, because by capping them, you're not seeing exactly what they are good at. They could be good at something completely different than what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? So if I'm looking for 100, I'm not gonna tell you, hey, give me 100 of this. I want to see what you look like at 100, being you. Because that tells me what you're good at, like what you stand, what's your foundation. And by that, I'm able to say, oh, this guy, okay, your foundation is you got your situation straight. You know where you're going.
Yeah.
Because as you figure out yourself, you figure out where you stand. You're able to know, okay, this is what I bring to the table. If you know what you bring to the table, nobody's going to take that from you. Mm-hmm. In fact, you're going to invite more people who are looking for what you're bringing to the table. But if you yourself don't know what you're bringing to the table, bro,
that's chaos right there.
And I think there's a lot of that going on around in the world in general, where people think they're bringing one thing to the table while they're fishing for something completely different. There's no true identity, true foundation in who you are. So it's hard for you to put yourself in the middle of a group and say, hey, this is what I bring to the table. Let's work.
Mm-hmm.
That table gets smaller and smaller and smaller every day.
Yeah, because there's no focus on what it is that you want to provide, whatever you want to bring to the table.
They tell you that every time, in every single place you go, you cannot chase two masters.
Yeah.
You cannot follow two masters. Try chasing two zebras at the same time. You ain't going to catch a single one of them. So, Figure out what your identity is, what you're good at. Once you've established that, it's easier for you to then see, okay, who do I want to be around? You right now, for example, 5 years ago, you probably be like, yo, this is, you probably don't even care who you're around. You just, want to be around people. But now we selective of who we spend time around, because that energy needs to be on the same level. I don't want to be drained.
But you're saying you don't want to be drained, but do you feel as if, like, how does a person drain you? I'm just curious now. I want to know, how does a person drain you?
Bro, you have that one person that's always asking you for money.
Okay, that was there. You got straight to the chase there. Yeah,
hey,
that's fair, and that's the one way that everyone gets drained.
So
look at all the athletes.
In that example, and we all do. We all do have that one person that's like, they know enough you got enough, exactly. So in that situation, what would I do? I'm gonna teach you how to go fish, right? And now it's up to you to take it or leave it. I taught you how to fish. Don't come and ask me to get another bag, because I taught you how to fish.
Okay. So given that you've taught the person,
I've done my due diligence, right? I came with good intention and right.
And you've added value to that person, but that person didn't add value to you. So what are you doing in that situation?
We've got to part ways, bro. We have to part ways, because my energy is not going to be wasted at this level.
You don't think you're hurting yourself by doing that?
No.
How so?
Because I have standard.
By distancing yourself from somebody, you don't think you're hurting yourself?
No. Not every relationship is meant to be kept. Sometimes a relationship is just that, fulfilling a contract between two individuals. And that contract could be from a teacher to a student, as in it's supposed to be a lesson, right? How many relationships did you go through to before where so you fulfilled that contract? It's like, yo, we tried it didn't work out, right? We try to make it work, it didn't work out.
Right.
For so and so reason, the difference is we're all different. But I'm not gonna stick here and try to drag something, hoping for a positive result, while you're not putting in the work. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, but I feel like it's kind of contradicting itself, because you want to add value to people.
Yeah.
And that person, yes, I get it, doesn't add value to you, so you got to figure out what to do with the person. But how many
strikes can you give a person?
But that's where I'm trying to figure out. That's where the test aspect was coming from. Hey, how do you really analyze, like, when enough is enough with anyone?
I think once you've seen the true color of the individual.
But man, come on. What does that even mean, man?
True colors?
Yes, because one person could be one way one day, the next month, next year, they're a totally different person.
Well, that's where time is your best friend. If you came in with the right intentions, just like, yo, I want to get to know this person, I want us to do well, you will put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
If you really care about that relationship, you will put in the work. All right? And at one point, you will realize that, hey, this is draining me more than it's doing good. Or you realize, yo, I'm glad I put in the time. I'm glad I put in time. I'm going to give you an example. Today, I decided to go and say, hey, I'm going to adopt a kid. I have no idea what the outlook of our relationship is going to be. I'm taking a gamble.
Yeah.
But I'm committed to that time of making sure the kid understand our relationship in what we're trying to accomplish here, right? We're trying to grow together. I'm trying to, help this individual grow as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the outcome, but I'm taking a risk. And it's the same thing with any relationship. You really don't know the outcome.
Yeah, you really don't.
But you got to be willing to put in the work. I wouldn't call it a test.
It's test and trial throughout the entire relationship. Are you kidding me?
Who are you testing? Yourself?
Everyone in the situation. I mean, based off of your standards, how do you know somebody is even fulfilling to you or not if you're not identifying, putting them, and I don't want to use I guess the word test is what's tripping you up here, because you're thinking I'm going to throw you out in the woods and see how you perform. No, I'm just watching you from afar in terms of what you do, what you don't do. And like you said, it's showing your true colors. Yeah. But I think in certain scenarios, I think, again, being a little bit more intentional of what you do and why you're doing certain things can enable you to see how a person is in a certain scenario. They may not look at it as a test. It may not be a test to you. It may be actually something that is truly indeed something that you want to either solve or accomplish or is near dear to your heart. So that now by saying this to a certain person, all it takes is a couple of words that you can say, and you can see someone's reaction. That right there can be a test.
But you just said that the person could be this way one day and this way the other day.
Yes.
So if you tell them this word today, all right, let me pick another example. We know some people that feel happy when it's sunny outside.
Oh, stop! Don't you better stop,
bro?
man.
I'm serious. I have people that I've met in my life,
Really?
even in high school. Well, just look around. Like when it's sunny, they're at the beach. You know, life is good. The sun, is shining on my face. But when
The
it's
sun don't shine
right.
forever. Once you go here, then you might as well shine together. But go ahead. Yeah,
but then when it's the
one.
winter time, your mood change.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that, where
Right,
the
right,
weather affect how they feel. Now, if the weather is affecting how you feel, when you're in the process of getting to know this person that's affected by the weather or the environment, how are you going to approach that, right? Because you can come up and say, today, these 3 words, you get one reaction. You hit them up in the winter, you use the same 3 words, you're going to get a completely different reaction.
That's people then. That's people for you though. And I think that if the person is very that's the
lack of identity. I think it is the lack of identity, because if your foundation is straight, there shouldn't be that wishy-washy function, really. I mean, I understand nobody's going to be perfect every day. I don't expect you to be perfect every day, but if your foundation is stable, no wind is going to blow that house away.
Right. How do you make it stable? Just knowing yourself.
You're doing the work. You got to peel the layers off your skin. You got to peel the layers off your skin and really dig deep and figure out, okay, why am I here? What the heck am I doing?
Outside of that person digging themselves deep, like how do you find individuals around you? Is it just based off of you, or what is it that you're just looking for?
Who are you? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so in terms of peeling the layers and identifying yourself.
Yeah.
And finding because again, you could do whatever you want by yourself, but I think it's greater to do with other people. So of course, I think
you always need a team.
I think somebody's gonna want to do it with people. So
but I don't want a team of 30 degrees. You get
right. But okay, how do you find 100% or 100 degrees or 100%ers? Like, what are you looking for to find that? Are you just looking for people to add value to you? Because one day they can add value, the next day they can just be like, no, I just don't have nothing on that.
I don't think you look for them. You actually attract. You become a magnet at that point.
You're not giving me answers that I want.
Yeah, I know, because I mean,
like you attract the person.
You do. I mean, I'm not gonna go out there and just. You want to put yourself in an environment where you can meet these people, right?
Of course, yes.
But I'm not begging to be with people who are in 100%. I think if you are in 100% and your foundation is stable, you would attract people who are also 100%. I mean, you've seen an example like that where your mindset shifts and the type of things and the type of environment that you start to be in are completely different. And the type of things your habits change, and when your habits change, everything changed. You've shifted the way you behave as a person.
Right.
Yeah. So that will change the type of people that you're around. It's not so much of. I feel like it's easy to settle, also, because if you're searching, right? If you're searching for people, it's easy to settle once you're unable to find those people that are 100%. Now you're going to be content for the 80. You're going to be content for the 70. You're going to be content for the 60.
I'm going to throw a curveball. I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to. It's something that I think I need to hear. You've created a group, right? This is hypothetically speaking on your behalf. You've created a group, and you see, like, man, this is not going the way that you planned or the way that you expected. There's improvements that have to be made. What do you do in that situation? Do you remove yourself from that, or do you help continuously get to that level field, or do you remove people out of it?
You have to figure out first what's important to you in that entire equation. Is the group important to you? Is your mental health important to you? Is it worth going through that struggle, right? Do you feel as though this is even a salvage? Can you salvage this group? I don't want to use the word salvage, but can you resurrect this group in a way?
Right.
But essentially, it comes down to what's important to you. It comes down to you, because you're the one who created a group eventually,
Right.
right?
Right.
Why did you create the group? What is the why behind, this group?
Mm-hmm.
If you still see that why being a possibility,
Then it's worth
it is fair to keep the
keep
group going.
going. Yeah.
But if you don't see that, because when you create a group like that, you have a vision, right?
Right.
So are you seeing that vision through? If not, what's the problem? No, don't go out there and act on it immediately. Take some time to reflect on it and see, okay, can we change
Fix
things around?
this,
Can we
yeah.
fix this first?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, then you gotta go and take the extreme, decision.
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do.
Tough
If it's
decisions are only
shut
made
it
for
down, you
bosses.
shut it down. But it's more as there's steps to it. There's steps to it, but all those steps, again, it starts with you.
Yeah. There's an interesting way. I think we could dive deep into this conversation at another day when we literally can say like, hey, we have a circle of success of people, or whatever the case.
Do you think you have a circle of success right now?
Not currently. I say I think there's still a lot of work to be done.
Gotcha.
And I think it's gonna be around. You gotta elevate, and if you don't elevate, then
I want to add something to that.
well, go ahead.
You can have multiple circles of success.
Oh yeah, and I do have multiple. That's why I'm like,
It's not just
But
one group of 10
but that's
people.
the thing though.
You
Even
can have a group of 2, you can have a group of 3, you can have a group of 4, you can have a group of 5, you can have it's basically there's no limit to it.
right, and I get that. I have to at the moment there are 2 separate groups that I have that I consistently tap into, and we all help each other. Both of them, one is worse than the other. I'll say that right now. Literally, one is worse than the other, and the one that's worse is just too many people in it. And that's one thing that I've learned really quickly. Too many people does not help. The foundation, the root of why you're doing what you're doing. You have to develop that thing really solid before trying to grow anything. I mean, if you want to grow fast, go ahead, grow fast. You're going to have problems along the way. Just be quick to fix those problems, because or else your entire thing is going to be shattered.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to fix broken glass at that point. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be something easy. Now, whereas the other group, in a sense, I would say it's just you get people on different levels every day, every week, I would say. And that's the tough part of, just the 2 different groups in itself. One is just too big. The other one, you got people doing their own thing every single week or every day. And again, not trying to micromanage anybody, but it's like when you tap into a group, just be there.
There is some expectation.
Be there.
To
Be
live
present.
Up to. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. So I personally can't say I have a circle of success just quite yet.
Gotcha.
I think I'm getting close though. Again, just kind of working on myself more and more, and that's the best thing that I could do. And then we'll see what happens, of course. But again, bring it back to the IG Live. Seeing those guys together, I think they said only 2 of them knew each other for like 10 plus years. The other 2 were added. So it's not like they all knew each other from when they were in high school or whatever the case may be, or middle school, whatever, right? So it's like you said, they attracted you. So at some point, they had to attract each other.
You do.
So it's trying to look and try to see like, hey, what is it that attracted them to each other, and what allowed them to kind of have that relationship. And I think to ultimately end this one, it's the end vision, the end goal. It's what are you being intentional about in terms of accomplishing it?
Yeah, I mean, it also, you have relationship where it's not so much of the end goal, but it's the person cares about you.
About the end goal, it has to be not.
They care about you.
It has to be the end goal at some point.
Your parent don't care if you make $1 million or not. You're still.
They want to see you well.
They want to see you do well,
and that's
but
all.
Well
that's
doesn't
goal.
Necessarily mean money,
Yeah, no, it
marry,
doesn't.
and
I
whatever.
get
It's well in what you want to do, and are you happy? Basically, that's what I say. So it's not a transactional relationship. They just care. They're there. Right. So those relationships exist as well, and you will come across those at some point. How you handle them, that's up to you. I'm no expert in relationship here. You should know.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, we briefly talked about, the circle of success, as Ron likes to describe it. And in that circle of success, you really want to be able to surround yourself with people that are open to cooperation, right? And people that are willing to share the knowledge of their own experiences as well, because that's where we learn, right? That's how we learn. There are things that you go through that I probably, haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
But by you sharing your experiences, you're allowing me to see a different world and different perspective. And that's what, create a meaningful add to the relationship. It's not the only thing, but it adds something to that relationship. So there are multiple ways to go about it. There are multiple ways to identify your small circle. But we must agree on general principles of our group. If you're going to be in a group, we know that there are certain things that must be met to be part of this group, to be part of the circle, to be, whether it's the 2-person group or a 3-person group or 4-person group. Because if you don't set those foundation, the place is bound to just crumble, because everybody's going to do what they want to do, right? So that's kind of my 2 takes on it. Just be careful, be mindful of who you're putting yourself around. Make sure you agree on certain principle. Give your knowledge and your experiences to the table. Just share everything.
The focus is just leveling up, cause I know the life I want, I'm just setting it up. Removing those that's close who try messing it up. Can't wait for champagne toast with the relevant bunch. Like, what's up? Yeah, like what you do, homie? What's your vision? How you thinking? How you move, homie? And is you cool, homie? You thinking building, then that's something we could do, homie.